Story time on how I found out that my ex-husband was cheating on me for 9 months with his coworker. During this time, my ex-husband was in the military and I thought we were happily married. I thought I was in a healthy marriage with this amazing man. And I honestly thought he felt the same way, but come to find out. Now, I feel like I shouldn't have to say this, but I'm still gonna say it because I feel like this is something that really got to me at that time. There were no red flags. He was never acting any different. 9 months go by, we're reunited. Then I remember that he was assigned a 24-hour duty day. That's pretty much when the soldier has to work for a 24-hour shift. This is a day that I will never forget because it was so traumatic for me.
Hi, and welcome to another one. In this video, I'm going to be talking about this viral TikTok video, how I found out my husband was cheating on me. Now, a quick shout out to Lala Ray. I don't know if I'm saying that herself. I don't know this person. I just ran across this channel and I saw this and I decided to look up on TikTok to see what this was about. Now, I have some family members that are in the military. I know and I've heard about how it goes down there. And, this is all coming on as there was a lawsuit where a woman in North Carolina, Kara Montague, sued a TikTok influencer, Brayna Kennard, for $1.75 million. Forgot to mention, it was about cheating on her husband. And the story is crazy. It gets sinister. But if you want to check that video, I'll put it in the description. And they just won. I feel like it's important to touch on these topics and get this out more. I don't know if it's going to make people think twice about cheating, but if it does, that would be great. More importantly, marriage is sanctified by God. So it's like people are falling away from the truth. So they're just doing whatever they feel like. But I'm happy there's some type of at least legal ramifications to the situations to maybe prevent this stuff from happening.
Story time on how I found out that my ex-husband was cheating on me for 9 months with his coworker. During this time, my ex-husband was in the military and I thought we were happily married. I thought I was in a healthy marriage with this amazing man. And my ex-husband was due to deploy overseas for 9 months. This was my first experience as a military wife dealing with a deployment, and it was very, very hard because I missed him so much. And I honestly thought he felt the same way, but come to find out. Now, I feel like I shouldn't have to say this, but I'm still gonna say it because I feel like this is something that really got to me at that time. I was faithfully waiting for him for the entire 9 months. I never even had eyes for another man. And I was under the impression that the feelings were mutual. There were no red flags. He was never acting any different. 9 months go by, we're reunited. Life felt blissful again. The marriage was rock solid. We were doing great. By this time, my ex-husband had already been back for about 2 weeks. Then I remember that he was assigned a 24-hour duty day. That's pretty much when the soldier has to work for a 24-hour shift. This is a day that I will never forget because it was so traumatic for me. He's at work, and then I get off of work. I come home, make dinner. I bring him dinner. So I go in the building, and I walk into the front desk, and then I see his boss, his sergeant. This is a sergeant that I had met before during like family events. So I walk in, I'm like, hey, how you doing? I brought him dinner, but I also brought a little extra for you, just in case you're hungry. It was like tacos or something. And that man looked at me like he saw a ghost. But at this point, I asked him, is everything okay? And he says, no, ma'am. Can I pull you to the side so we can talk about something? And he asked me, are you still married to so-and-so? I said, yes, it's my husband. He's always been my husband. This guy says, oh, no, ma'am. He made it seem like he was going through a divorce with you, like he was separated. He had a girlfriend there for 9 months. That other soldier was walking around telling people that your husband was her boyfriend, and they were literally a couple out there. They were publicly dating, and nobody in the unit thought anything of it because he kept telling everybody that you and him were split up and that you and him were going through a divorce, that you and him were not together. He also said a few other things about how he felt like I didn't deserve that and blah, 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 blah. Because even though me and his sergeant didn't know each other, like we interacted at like family events and gatherings. And I remember one year I had a Thanksgiving dinner and I invited a lot of the people from his unit, and I invited him too. And he came
Don't celebrate Thanksgiving, y'all.
over to our house and we had dinner. Like we would always get together at like events and gatherings. But we weren't friends because I don't befriend men. But we were cordial because of my husband.
And I just want to point out real quick for men watching and women, like it's really applaudable to have a woman who understands, like once you get married, especially in this world, the whole having friends that are men thing is just, it just wouldn't fly. There are many men, and I'm sure you already went through this probably, that get called insecure if their woman wants to go out and have fun on the night at a club or has a male friend. In my opinion, that is applaudable. Like once you get married, all that male friend or men who have a women friend, why do y'all gotta be friends?
You know what I'm saying? In that moment, I remember feeling like my heart dropped all the way to my stomach. I remember asking him, so you're telling me the whole 9 months, the whole time he was over there, he was with that girl? And he said, yes, ma'am, I have no reason to lie to you. This is her name. This is her rank. This is what she looked like. That was his girlfriend. Everybody in the unit knows.
Shout out to the sergeant right quick, because there are a lot of people that'll say it's not my business and this, that, and a third, and or be afraid or whatever the case is. And shout out to her for listening, because there are a lot of people that don't tell these persons these things because the spouse will feel some type of way, like you're hating or whatever the case is. So that's at least a plus.
That he was with her. After he said that, I said, thank you so much for telling me this. I start walking away and heading towards my car. As I'm walking towards my car, my ex-husband is walking out of some room, and then he sees me and he's like, hey, babe, where are you going? I just turn around and I look at him, and I just turn back around and keep walking. He follows me outside to my car, and he's like, what's wrong? What's going on? What happened? So in that moment, I tell him, I found out everything I know about your girlfriend. However, this is not a discussion we're going to have here in public. We're going to talk about this at home.
Shout out to her again, because if I was in that situation, I guess a stereotypical angry black woman, whatever, but it probably would have got handled right then and there, because that's like overwhelming. I'm trying to work on my emotions, but that's like a lot to handle at that time. But then again, you know, as you get older, I don't know how old she is, you do become more mature. So there's that.
This man
Not that, you know, she looked old or anything, like she looked good.
looked at me like he saw a ghost. He was just shocked. Like he couldn't believe what I was saying to him. He like snapped out of it and he was like, no, but I can explain. No, like it's a misunderstanding. Did my sergeant tell you that? Because that's the only person who was there. Like there's no, like he just started rambling. Like no, like that never happened. That's a lie. Whoever told you that is just plotting against our marriage. He was spiraling, saying random stuff. In that moment, I tell him, we're not about to cause a scene here. I'm done talking to you. We will talk at home.
Good for you.
I'm walking away now. Do not follow me to my car. So I walk back to my car, and as I'm driving home, I'm literally breaking down, sobbing. I feel this like I said, like my heart dropped to my stomach. I felt so broken. I remember my heart beating really, really fast. I remember just crying, like sobbing.
That's just to put my input in that. That is exactly how it feels when you're getting cheated on. It's like your heart race. It's really something it's abuse. Really, it is abuse. That's why I have such a low tolerance for people that do that. I'm not trying to say cast stones, but it's just a nutty situation to be in. I'd rather you just tell the person what it is and go accordingly before, or you do all of that, because it really, your heart races, you're sweating, you're like just recalculating and recalibrating everything that's going on. There's just so much rushing through your mind. There's anger, there's sadness, there's anger again, there's confusion. It's just a nutty feeling to be going through. And you know, nobody's perfect. Yes, we've all looked at somebody who's attractive and been in a relationship or whatever, but there has to be some type of respect and understanding. We have to start thinking about how this can affect not only the other person, but if there's any youth involved, but more importantly, what the Most High thinks about it. Because when when you're married into a union, that is a promise to the Most High. Now, people are going to call it religious, but if you follow the instruction manual that God has laid down, because he is the maker, you'll find that you'll have way more peace in your life. A lot of people that say, oh, that's religious, but I mean, the things that the instructions and the commands that God has set down brings peace. So that in itself should scream what the truth is.
Point that I was speeding and I didn't realize it, and I got stopped by the police. This police officer stops me, and as he's coming up to my window, he sees that I'm like crying. He's like, "Are you okay, ma'am? Do you know you were speeding? Like, you know how they question you?" I was like, "No, I'm not okay. I just found out my husband was cheating on me." And he asked me like, "Are you okay to drive?" And I was
And that's another thing. I don't know if she was on the base, but they are super, super strict on army bases, like with speed. And I actually like the ambiance of it because it's like a controlled, everybody's like, pedestrians first and stuff like that. Like I said, I do have a lot of family in the military, so I can, put my little two pieces into this here and there, add some value. But that's probably, I mean, even if she was just speeding outside as a regular civilian, but on the military base, you can't play that. Like you be snail driving. I think their average speed limit is like 15, 20 miles max. If any of y'all are in the military, want to shout out in the comments and let me know what base you on. But that's how it is. The bases that I've been on was Fort Hood and Fort Knox. So yeah.
like, "Yeah, I'm just sad. That's all." He said, "Okay, well, no more speeding. I'm gonna let you go with a warning. I'm just gonna follow you for a little bit just to make sure you get home safe." I was like, "Thank you so much." I made it home. And the next day, my ex-husband comes home from his 24-hour shift. And let me know if you want a part two story time on
Definitely want a part two. I thought this was the whole gist of the whole thing. Let's see what she talking about over here. But yeah, the cop, shout out to the cop. He was actually cool. I've had a situation where I was pulled over the first time, and instead of giving me grace because it wasn't even like anything crazy, he proceeds to write me a ticket. So everybody, has their own scenarios. But God came through regardless. Let me see if there's a part two.
This is part two on how I found out that my ex-husband was cheating on me for 9 months with his coworker. If you want to see part one, go ahead and click on the comment right here. So now we know that my ex-husband was in the military. He was cheating on me with his coworker, who was also a military service member. And we know that I found out because his sergeant told me. So that day I got home and I spent the entire night crying. I felt so depressed and just outright broken. I think broken is an understatement. That night, my ex-husband was texting me and calling me and saying, "I need to explain myself. Please give me a chance to explain myself. None of that is true. Everything that you were told was a lie." And then he started saying things like, "So you're gonna believe a stranger over me, your husband?" He started gaslighting, saying like, "Wow, you really don't trust me. You really don't believe me. See how you really feel." He was spiraling out of control, texting me, calling me. I just put my phone on do not disturb and just ignored him for the rest of the night. Because in my heart, in my gut, I knew that what he told me was true. And that
That's something that I want to point out too when it comes to cheating. As far as her, she says she didn't think of anything and this, that, and the third, because there are those situations where you think everything is going smoothly. But in my case, I definitely, every time I did feel something, and then I asked God, if you ever feel that type of way, ask the Lord. Like, it is an honor if he responds, of course, but every time he literally, seek and ye shall find. Like, his word is just range true. And I just want to look at the comment real quick. It says, "The only advice I can give you girls is never ever give a second chance to a cheater ever." We'll see what happened. What she do in this situation. This person said, "Is the sergeant single? Asking for you." Oh, that's sweet.
my ex-husband was lying to me. So the next day, my ex-husband comes home and I tell him that I'm gonna file for divorce. I tell him that I'm done because this is something that I just can't forgive or move past. And in that moment, this man starts crying, sobbing. He gets on his knees. He's holding on to my leg and telling me, "Please, no, don't leave me. I can't live without you."
Can't live without you. What is up with that? Like, that's why I said a lot of people, I wonder and question the logic. I mean, he's literally out in the open. I mean, the brazenness. The same thing with that case of Brene Kenyard. How do you go and have no shame whatsoever and just be cool with not like with this? If you're really afraid to lose something, you're not going to even chance it. You're not even gonna chance it, right?
the love of my life, asking me for forgiveness and pleading. And I'm also crying. I tell him, like, no, I can't forgive this. Like, this is literally insane. You done slept with her. You done did all these things with her behind my back. And then came home to me. You literally could have given me an STD. He's still begging and crying, asking for a second chance. And a part of me wanted to reach out to the girl to question her and confront her, but I didn't want to give her the satisfaction to let her know that I was hurt, that I was suffering, because she knew about me. She knew that we were together. At this point,
Y'all homeworkers out there, I don't know if they have any youths. Like, I mean, just wow. A lot of these women, they're very insecure. So the way that they feel like they get some type of kick out of it or like any type of confidence boost is to mess with a married man. Listen, it doesn't end well for y'all. Like, a lot of y'all not on here crying about it or whatever the case is, and you keeping it to yourself and you suffer slowly in silence. But it's like it doesn't help the situation at all. You're just setting up your own trap and your own snare at the end of the day.
I'm starting to feel a little conflicted. I don't know what to do or what my next steps should be. So I talked to my mom and I'm like, Mom, like all of this happened. I feel like contacting the girl and going up the chain of command and doing all this. My mom literally tells me in Spanish, don't you ever lower yourself to confront another woman. You're the wife, she's the mistress. Nunca te rebajes a confrontar a otra mujer, porque la culpa no es de ella, es de tu marido. El que te debe lealtad es tu marido. My mom pretty much said, like, the person who owes you loyalty is your husband, not the other woman. There's nothing to confront over there. She's not the one that was married to you, it's your husband. So the full responsibility falls on him. Almost pretty much like she's one of those easy ones. Let her be. Her karma will come later. Don't worry about her. Right now, you have a decision to make. Are you gonna choose to forgive him, or are you gonna get divorced? And I told my mom, I'm gonna get a divorce because I am not gonna forgive this. So that same week, I started packing my things. I'm coming up with a plan on how to move out and start the divorce process. My ex-husband is still begging, still asking for forgiveness, still asking for a second chance. At this point, I don't know if I want to move back to my hometown or stay here, keep my job, stay in college, and just find an apartment in the area. Anyways, that entire process took about a month, and we were living like roommates. I was still in love with him, but I felt repulsed by him. Like, I was disgusted. Every time I would look at him, I would just think about him and her together. It was just such a weird, I don't know how to explain it. Like, I loved him so much and I was so hurt, but every time I would look at him, my heart would just break all over again. Because all I could see was him and her. Fast forward a couple weeks later, I found out I was pregnant. We were expecting our first son. And then I felt like my world was turned upside down all over again. The last thing that I wanted at this time was to be pregnant by the man I was getting ready to leave. So the same day I found out that I was expecting, I tell him, he's very happy. Because before he got deployed overseas, him and I were planning on trying to conceive after the deployment.
And I was just asking if they had any youth, but like, so y'all were planning to reproduce and you felt the need to have a whole work wife in front of everybody? I can't understand the logic. It's because it's not logic. It's insanity.
We talked about having kids and having a family and buying a house because we were renting at the time. We had made all these plans about like what we're gonna do after I graduate college and all these dreams and goals. So then I made the very stupid decision to stay with him for the sake of our child because
Now, is it a stupid decision? I don't know. I've done this multiple times. So it's like you want to keep and this is the battle that single, because people don't talk about this, are those single moms that choose to be single, if that makes sense. Like, everybody always thinks, oh, it's your baby daddy left you, or your husband left you, whatever the case is. And that isn't always the case. Sometimes you have to make decisions that other people will look down on, X, Y, and Z. I literally tried to make it work, but God would tell me no. it's just not going to work every single time. And I'm not going to sit here and say I'm perfect, because it's a soul tie at the end of the day. And that's why I stress it is so important to choose wisely. It's so important to choose wisely, because you end up in a nutty situation having to make these major decisions, because either way you're going to look like the bad guy. You're going to look like, oh, you're just the wife or the baby mom, really, who doesn't want to the father to see the kid, the youths, and this, that, and the third, when in reality it's not that. And then people are feeling sorry for you, and this, that, and the third, not knowing, the father wants to be in be a family unit, wants to stick it out. What do they say? Most marriages, most divorces are women divorcing men. Okay, if you look right here, it says wives are the ones who most often file for divorce, with figures showing around 66%. Okay, so that's over 2/3 of every marriage. So 2 out of 3 marriages, it's gonna be the wife, the woman, who is initiating the divorce. And I mean, it's sucky, but look at her situation. Can you really blame her for not wanting to continue with him? That's like a crazy situation, and it's an unfair situation. And God talks about that. Like, there's a lot of emphasis. There are a lot of, and I'm not here, you, all right? There was another YouTuber that talked about the Amplified Bible, which I have seen before, but I'm also going to do KJV, just to, it has been said, whoever divorces his wife is to give her a certificate of divorce. But I say to you that whosoever divorces his wife except on the grounds of sexual or immorality causes her to commit adultery, and whoever marries a woman who has been divorced commits adultery. So basically, except on the grounds of if they were unfaithful. And that's the way that I've interpreted it. I don't go into people's like marriages. And okay, and it says, it has been said, whosoever shall put away his wife, let him give her writing of divorcement. But I say unto you that whosoever shall put away his wife, saving for the cause of fornication, causes her to commit adultery, and whosoever shall marry her that is divorced committeth adultery. So essentially, what I'm trying to get at is, if somebody's unfair in the situation, I mean, I would think that it wouldn't be right for you to stay in the situation. This is just my opinion. I did read that Bible verse. There's another verse that stood out to me. You have heard that is what's said, you shall not commit adultery. But I tell you that anyone who looks at a woman lustfully has already committed adultery with her in his heart. And that's the same thing that goes on with like flirting and stuff like that. I honestly believe flirting is cheating, but to see that there's Bible verses to back it up, like, is just wild.
Wanted nothing more than for my child to grow up in a two-parent household. I didn't have that growing up. My ex-husband didn't have that growing up, and it's something that like we just always wanted. And then at the time, my ex-husband was saying that he would do anything to make me happy, to make our marriage strong again. He introduced the idea of couples therapy, and I agreed to couples therapy. We started therapy, which was honestly really, really good. I learned a lot, and a lot of my own personal traumas were able to come onto the surface, and I was able to heal from a lot of things that happened to me in my childhood. But that's neither here nor there. As the pregnancy was progressing, we were still in couples therapy. I still didn't trust him. I still didn't believe a lot of the things he was telling me. Like when he told me, "Oh, I love you," I was still struggling with other things in the marriage too, because like every time I would look at him, I was still getting like flashbacks of like him and her. There was a lot of trauma on my end that I was like digesting. And then he started kind of getting tired of it. He would say things like, "Why are you still bringing this up? That was like 5 months ago." I was like,
That's I'm telling you, it's the same spirit. That's the same thing. I mean, yeah, if you're going to forgive somebody, you have to let it go. That's why it's such a huge thing when you're married or in a relationship. Unfortunately, in these times, that's what it is. There are people that go together and are ignorant, or don't, or listen to the society, and don't get married before they lay down, and end up having youths with these people. But if you're really about to say, oh, I'm about to like move on, you have to understand that you can't be bringing it up at every, because it gets annoying. I'm not trying to make any excuses for him, but that's like the typical thing. Oh, that was years ago. Or are you going to keep, now what are you going to keep bringing up? You have to fully be able to move on from that, or it's going to annoy the both of you and create a loop of complete energy draining arguments, of just an unsatisfactory lifestyle. I'm trying to tell you, it is just a drain. And that's the opposition's goal, is to drain you and distract you. So if you're going to forgive somebody, you got to fully move on, and that's not an easy thing to do.
Excuse me? Or whenever I would ask questions about that relationship he had, he would be like, I thought we were leaving the past in the past. Why are you still trying to bring this up? Why are you still trying to bring up a situation that already happened? And I felt like he was just trying to like get me to like move on really, really fast. Even though things were starting to kind of get a little better, like we weren't arguing all the time, I was trying not to bring up the situation or ask too many questions because I genuinely wanted things to be healthy. I really, really wanted to get past it, but I couldn't. Because months later, I was still heartbroken. Not only that, like that cheating, like at that level, messes you up, like mentally, emotionally. As a woman, you start looking at yourself differently. Your self-esteem was here, it is now here.
That's what I'm saying, yo. When you literally, that's what, and men will be looking at you like you're crazy or you're insecure or this, that, and the third. No, cheating literally does that. It don't matter how good you look. It don't matter how well you take care of yourself, whatever the case is. If someone cheats on you, if a man cheats on you, your self-confidence is gone. Okay. Such, she said, all the way down here. Yeah, it's literally, it doesn't even have anything to do with you. It just like lets you know like that there's something wrong. Like you literally sleep with someone, and then for them to turn around and say, you question everything. Like you question every intimacy. You question, oh, is this good enough? Am I doing this right? Because is he lying? Is he just capping? Is he just saying this? And it creates this constant regurgitated thing where you get more and more sad every day. You question everything every day. For me, you start thinking, and oh, are you looking over there? Are you looking over here? Like, are you paying? And it creates this thing where it's argument fuel, and it's just not worth it. If you can't fully move on, it's just nutty.
Start questioning yourself. You start thinking like, why wasn't I good enough? What was I missing? And you also start questioning the things that he says to you, like when he calls you beautiful, and he tells you he loves you. You start questioning like, does he really mean that, or is he lying? And you start questioning everything else. He stays at work late. Is he cheating again? Could he be cheating again? Could he just be hiding it better? It's so damaging. I felt like I was pregnant and at the lowest point of my life. I was literally struggling with depression. Very sad. It wasn't a happy pregnancy. Oh my God, it's been like 11 years since this. My son is 11 years old today. Why am I still crying about this? I literally just. By the way, I'm not.
Ladies, it's a detrimental thing. I'm trying to tell you, it's a detrimental thing that wastes years. 11, this is literally, she's tearing up. This is literally how it is. Like seeing it play out. Like who, you know what I'm saying? And that's why women that do this, I don't have respect. I can't have respect. And of course, the same thing that you put out is what you're gonna get back. And it's like, I'm not trying to, whatever the case is, but it just really, it teaches you a lesson. Like you go through these motions, and it destroys, and if you let it, years and years and years of your time, where you should be enjoying your youth. You should be enjoying, when I mean about your youth, I mean you should be enjoying your seeds. You should be enjoying your youth too. And it's just a waste of time.
Not hurt. I don't have any lingering feelings about what happened. My ex-husband and I actually get along. We co-parent really great. I'm remarried. I'm happily remarried. I love my husband. He's the best. After my kids, my husband, my current husband, is one of the best things that happened to me. I'm crying right now because I remember so many things that happened during that and after. after that. I just feel how like I didn't deserve any of it. I suffered so much. I was such a depressed, broken version of myself. I was such a sad mom, a broken mom. I didn't deserve any of it. Let me fast forward a little bit so you know what's coming. When I was 8 months pregnant, he cheated on me again, this time with two other females. I'm running out of time. Let me know if you want part three. By the way, I am crying because I'm remembering that, like I said, I didn't deserve to be treated the way that I was. And I'm a little disappointed in myself because why did I allow someone to treat me that way? Why did I think so low of myself? Why did I not love myself enough to realize that I deserve better? That's why I'm crying. I also realized that I was way younger and way dumber. It's life, sometimes shitty things happen to good people, and it is what it is. Again, let me know if you guys want part three to find out how he cheated on me again. And then after our divorce, I found out he had cheated on me another time. This is part two on
So, I mean, yeah, her name is, well, you can see her name here on TikTok. I'm not going to go any deeper in this video. It's definitely getting kind of long. But, I mean, I hope there was something that you learned from this in terms of you have to really know how to pick them. And the only way that you really can pick them is through the Most High. This whole system has been orchestrated to throw women off. I don't know how she grew up. Oh, yeah, she did say that she grew up with just her mother. This is a perfect example of why they push single motherhood. Yes, they glorify single motherhood. They put it on a pedestal and then they wrap it in a bow and dish it out to everybody. You have people like Tracy Ellis Ross who are on these sitcoms, Blackish, talking about, oh, women, as a woman, you should be able to do whatever you feel like in society, judgment free, this, that, and the third. That is a trap, people. It sounds good.
You are building your identity as a woman, and you should have the freedom to explore that without being tied to the judgments of society, and society will judge you. But I want you to remember that while you are ignoring the judgment. That makes sense?
I guess.
Okay, so we've handled that.
It sounds good, right? But it's not. When you put yourself in these situations, it creates single family households. And the reason why I said I went to a Sabbath service, and this was a great Sabbath service, okay? And essentially, we were going over courtship and marriage. If things were done biblically, there would hands down be way less divorces, way less situations. This all goes back, y'all, to having, thank you, Holy Spirit, a father figure. Back in the day, whenever a woman, let's say it's her father would be the one that as a man you'd have to go through to see if yes or yay or nay if you want to marry this woman. She of course would be a virgin, and that is very important. Okay, I do have a book out, Value Virtue, coming out if you want to show your support, but basically going over things that I've learned. I mean, if you're a virgin, which, chances are slim, or if you know somebody who is, or whatever the case is, that is a key, not the end all be all or most important thing. I mean, that's like a fleshy way to look at it, but there's a spiritual aspect to it too. You see, she's getting emotional over something that happened 11 years ago. Yes, she's talking about, oh, she's, didn't deserve it and X, Y, and Z, and that's why she's crying. But it also comes from that soul tie. It is a deep love that happens when you lose your virginity to someone. It is a deep connection that happens when you lose your virginity to someone. And we need to push and accelerate the facts in the situation, which you should not be just boyfriend, girlfriend, sleeping with this person, and dating equates to you sleeping with someone, and if it doesn't work out you hop onto the next. Women are not the same as men. At the end of the day, you take on a spiritual burden if you sleep with the wrong person. If it's not your husband, you are going to carry that baggage, and it may take years. It may take spiritual miracle intervention through Christ himself in order to break free from those chains, from those ties. Okay, that soul tie. It's not no easy thing. That's why they push these things out into the algorithm. They push these things out into mainstream. They push these things out into music to do whatever you want to do. But when you find a good husband, yes, of course, if you find a good, the Bible verse, if you find a good wife, a Proverbs 31 woman, you're a blessed man, you find a very good thing. And that also in turn, as a woman, having the correct man in your life, someone whom your father has vetted. And I know everybody doesn't have that setup, obviously, due to the corruption here, or if someone has passed away, or your parents have passed away, or whatever the case may be. Not always just cut and dry, but that is the importance of having that, because at the service they let them know, the woman may be looking at you with googly eyes and lovey-dovey and this and the third, but the man is not going to be in love with you. The man is going to look at another man, knowing he's a man, knowing what to look for, knowing if he has good intentions for his daughter. It all comes back to biblical, whether people like it or not. You cannot tell me that it isn't a good setup to have your father. Remember those days going to the father and asking to wife your daughter? Remember those? And instead, it's just this dating culture of women being able to choose as far as what. And I'm not saying, because there are going to be those people that make it seem like those extreme situations in Muslim countries where fathers are like literally marrying off their. Listen, I mean, everybody's going to do their own thing at the end of the day, but the setup that I'm talking about isn't on no, fathers who have ill will, or just are just money intended for. Those are subjects I can't really talk about and touch on. I don't talk about stuff I don't know. But as far as like those setup, the family setup, it's messed everything up, and it's creating these broken homes. But with all that being said, I do have a book out, Melanated and Expecting. If you are expecting and you want to get out of this messed up system, it talks about birth certificates, epidurals, things that I wish I knew that God had revealed to me before, during, and after my pregnancy. Some consequences that I'm still dealing with today, but truly blessed to have make it out of the situation. And it could have been worse. And it could have been worse. So if you want to check that book out, because they're definitely your use or target things you can't really talk about on the internet. The link is in the description or in the pinned comment. More importantly, of course, seek the Most High. Create that relationship through Christ. He is available, ready, and speaking on your behalf to get you into the kingdom, to get you into the glory, to get you into what is promised for those who love him. Okay. But you have to make that decision. You have to make that choice. Also, would love to hear what you have to say about the situation, any situations that you have been through, or if you want to hit up my business email if you have been in to any similar situations, or just things that us women can learn from and express, and also talk about the difficulties that come with doing things the wrong way and learning from them. Stay sober minded on these spiritual streets. Peace.